Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Danielle. I'll be your host as we dive deep into Pillars of Light, Stories of Goddess Activations. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Hilda Zamora. She is a co-author in the upcoming book, Pillars of Light, Stories of Goddess Activations. Welcome, Hilda. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Thank you, Danielle.
Likewise, it's such an honor for us having you here. And before we dive into the book, could you let our viewers know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As you mentioned, my name is Hilda Zamora. I currently live in the Palm Springs area in Indio, California. I was born and raised in Mexico, in La Piedad. That's where I was born. And here I am.
I love it. And Southern California is beautiful. I'm from California. So we were talking earlier before we hopped on, and we have a common ground of knowing, where each other are from. So it's really nice to connect. I am currently in Minnesota, so it's quite a transition from there to here.
Yes, we have beautiful weather, but you definitely don't want to be here during the summer. We get like 120 degrees, so definitely not here during the summer.
I'm very well aware, and during the winter here, it's very tough, but I have to say it's been beautiful. I do miss Palm Springs though. It's gorgeous.
Yes, like right now we have probably high 70s. It's beautiful, beautiful mornings. Yes.
Lovely. Well, I'm so glad you were able to connect with us. I know you're a very busy woman, so it really means a lot to have you here and hear about your chapter. So before we dive into the chapter, could you tell us a little bit about the goddess Radhaa connected you with during your goddess activation and how you came to that before the actual activation?
Yes, you know what? It's such a divine timing. It's just such a divine gift that Radha was able to share with me. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. I was able to experience the energy of Goddess Pele, which is the goddess of the fire, of lightning. It is so funny that she picked me for that role because I've always been told that I'm a little firecracker. And I'm like, oh, I get it, right? And based on what I do, being an attorney and being a fighter, I could totally relate with Goddess Pele's energy and the whole fire deal, women on fire, female on fire. So yes, that's the goddess that I was able to experience.
So powerful, and it really says a lot about who you are as a person, because the goddesses are so divinely beautiful, and they're bringing out this essence to a lot of women right now, and you really stand for that essence of, I always have a hard time saying Goddess Pele. Is that how you say it?
That's how I think, right? Okay. Maybe the Mexican Indians not pronouncing it properly, but yeah, it's Goddess Pele, correct?
Yeah, Pele. She, that energy is so fierce and it's very empowering. And I really, really believe that you have such an amazing testimony for that energy. So people, I feel, don't quite understand how important these goddess activations are. You might think, oh, beautiful goddess energy, it's love and beauty, and it is, and it's very soft and gentle, but at the same time there's so much more to that. It's really, really deep. You do a lot of that inner work. Some people have persecution wounds, energetic divorces they experience, and even as deep as a entity removal, it may be more. So having gone through the experience yourself, what are some of the things you may have experienced that other people are not necessarily aware of?
Yes, absolutely. This goddess activation is extremely powerful, and it's something that I myself, prior to not working with Radha, I was not aware of. And I wish somebody would have told me earlier. I think my life would have been a lot easier had I known about this. But with this type of energy, right, it not only brings you power, and it doesn't only bring you that instinct of, okay, I can find myself, I can relate, but it also brings you a lot of peace and a lot of calmness and a lot of inner peace, right? Which is what's important. With me, we worked a lot in healing and forgiveness and getting rid of anger and resentment. In my book, in the book, I'll talk about a sexual assault that I experienced at the age of 5. I grew up with a lot of resentment. I grew up with a lot of anger. I grew up thinking I was voiceless, that I didn't matter because I was never given any justice, because the person that affected me never got arrested and I never got any justice. And I grew up thinking, okay, I don't matter. I must not be important. When you work with this type of energy, it goes so deep into like your cells where your perspective change, right? It's not that you don't matter. It's something that an experience that you had to go through. Your perspective as to that experience changes. You still think about it. It's never going to be forgiven, but it doesn't affect you as much as it used to. It doesn't affect your relationship. It doesn't affect your job. But most importantly, it helps you heal. And it's almost instantly. I
Yeah.
remember getting off the call and I was like, wait, I used to think about that and it used to make me upset and angry. And it used to even upset my stomach. It's not happening anymore. And that's when you know it's something really hard to explain, but it's
Mhm.
something that it almost happens instantly, magically, right? And that's the
Yeah.
power of the activation, where
Ooh.
you know that your body and every cell in your body received it because your perspective is completely different. And you feel it in the pit of your stomach, how things that you remember being upset about, angry about, they're there, but all of a sudden they don't matter.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. That's like, first of all, vulnerability is a strength. And I want to thank you for having that and sharing that with women, because it's very empowering to look at something that happened in your life and really just work through it. And then, of course, sessions like this are so profound to help you step into that and experience that moment for you. And I'm so glad you had that, because I believe women have been going through so much for centuries about just basically repression, just to be a woman in general. And it's a lot of segregation in different ways. If you really want to fine tune, comb pick it, there's so many different, on top of that, aspects of being a powerful woman and having to go through so much. And then the healing aspect of it was just, wow, that's powerful. Sorry, I kind of just went down that. I'm like,
No, that's
yeah.
perfect. And a lot of the times, Daniela, I think culturally, and being a female, and especially me being a minority female, we are taught to be quiet. We are taught to just not say anything
Right.
to protect the family member, to protect whoever, right? Mostly
Mm-hmm.
the aggressor, because from my experience, it was a family member. And for 20 plus years, I was taught to keep quiet and keep quiet and keep quiet, and oppressing that feeling, and eventually your body just explodes, and your body wants freedom, and your body wants to be heard, and your energy wants to be heard. And when you do this type of activations, you're being heard, right? Not necessarily literally are you screaming to the world what happened, but inside of you, your body resonates with, okay, I'm being heard. You know what? I matter. What happened to me was not my fault. What
Right.
happened to me, I had no control over. And I think it's very important as women, we come together and we empower each other, because as me, maybe my experience, somebody else has kept quiet and their abuse has probably not suffered the consequences. So it's time to raise up together, right? To stand up, hold hands, and speak up and have a voice and stop being so voiceless. Because apparently, or obviously, that's not only culturally, sometimes do we experience that, but also society. Society teaches us, right, to be
Mm-hmm.
ladylike, whatever that means, right? Be ladylike, be this, be that. Society tells us, or kind of sculptures how we should be. And it's time for us to speak up.
Oh, so well said. You said everything I was trying to say and getting lost in translation.
No. You said it, girl. You
No,
said it.
you are amazing. That's so wonderful and such a strong testimony as what the power of goddess activations can do. When you were going through the goddess activation, how did you feel in that moment? What were you feeling energetically, and what was happening like internally through your mind and body and spirit?
I went through a lot. I think part of Goddess Paley activation is lightning and volcanoes, and I was feeling all that. Right, I was feeling all the emotions. I had anger. I was sobbing. I was laughing. It was a little bit of emotions of everything, because I had everything that I've been oppressing for so long. So I started with teary eye, with feeling nervous, butterflies in my stomach, and then it just turned out to like straight sobbing, as if
Mm.
like like a little baby. And then it went back from like feeling that peace in my heart and be able to calm down and be able to even feel like my heart beating, like if I was alive. it
Wow.
went it was a lot of phases, and at the end I was left completely like exhausted, like if I had just ran miles and miles, right? I was depleted. and I was super thirsty. And Radha explained that it was the energy work that was done, and I had to like take it easy. It was kind of like if I had open heart surgery. I was like, okay, what do I do from now? So it was really beautiful to experience all that in my body and see all the changes and experience all those feelings because I had never experienced that in the past. So when that happened, I was like, what? At first, I was like, what's going on? What's happening? But then when I understood, then having Radha by my side and my ear telling me, okay, this is normal. Keep on going, keep on working, receive. It was beautiful. It was such an amazing experience.
Wow, that is amazing. The testimony of your chapter is, I could just feel it in this interview. I'm so excited to read it, and I'm excited for others too as well. I think it's going to be so powerful, and it's going to activate. Also, too, just so you guys know, when these activations are done and you read the chapters, you're going to get activated too. So what you're feeling, you're going to be understanding of what she's saying through her chapter. So I'm excited for them on that aspect. That's amazing. Like, I'm
Thank
already
you.
getting charged right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, how would you explain in words to someone who will experience this in the future? How can it help assist them on their journey? Because everyone's journey is a little different, but what do you feel this could do for people?
Oh my goodness, miracles, absolutely
Oh,
miracles. I think a lot, like there's a lot of things out there, there's therapy, there's EMDR, there's an array of different therapies that I had tried them all, and everything made me, I think it like brought the wound like even more alive, and it made me more upset and I couldn't fix it. And this is actually something that it heals, right? And it's permanent because once it's healed and it's activated, it's there. Like you said, we read something and it's reactivated and it's there. But there's an array of things that can use it. I used it for healing. I used it to get rid of fear, anxiety, and anger. And there's many people that can use it. That can use it for power, for self-esteem, to build confidence. There's an array of different things that they can use it depending on what it is that their body is in need of.
right. So well said. Wow. What are some shifts that you recognize since having your goddess activation?
Definitely my perspective. I went from being a victim, blaming the entire world. I was a victim because I had every reason to believe that I was. I was a 5-year old, and I was never heard. I was never given justice. So I was a victim, and everything I was correlated back to being a victim to being a victor. Right? That's my past. There's nothing I can do, but I cannot control the past, but I can totally control and rewrite my future, and that's what I'm focusing on. So one of the activate after being activated, like I'm all forward. Yes, I acknowledge my history, I acknowledge my background, I acknowledge my past because that's who helped me be the person that I am today. But after the activation, girl, is like I'm a female on fire. There's nothing that can stop me. It's just amazing, and you see things from a different perspective.
I absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly. So, what do you feel that what did you feel when you became a part of the Pillars of Lights? Did you feel like drawn to it? Was it something Radha approached you about, or did you know about it? Like, how did you come into play with Pillars of Light?
So I had been going through a lot of stuff in my personal life. I was not happy, although I'm a very successful attorney. I was not happy with my practice. I was not happy in my house. Nothing was going well for me, right? I feel like I was just living like a fraud where everything, it appeared to be perfect. It appeared that I had it all, but in reality, I felt like I had nothing. So I reached out to Radha for a session because I thought I was just like, that I had like nothing left, right? I was like, I just felt like I was completely depleted. I felt defeated. I felt like I couldn't get up. So after a session, I think it was something about, oh, I remember during the pandemic, I wrote a book, right? A book that I'm still continuing editing. And it came out with the fire, right? I kept on talking to Radha, like, I dream about fire. I think it should be called like Female on Fire. There's something about fire. And I kept on mentioning fire. And she's like, oh my gosh, Hilda, have you ever heard of Goddess Haley? And she sent me the research and I fell in love. And I'm like, that's like totally me. Like, that's me, she's strong, she's fierce, but she's noble,
Yeah.
She has this female energy. She wants to make a difference in the world. Like I totally identify myself. So then Radha made me the offer about Pillars of Light, and I was completely honored. And at first I was like, wow, I don't know if I'm the right person, right? Like, how about if I'm not the right person? And she's like, you are, because you will feel it in your body. And
Mm.
after we did the session with the whole Paley activation, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I was walking on cloud nine. And when I was doing my photo shoot as Goddess Paley, I was able to embody her completely. And I even felt like the energy was so present that even the people that were doing my photo shoot were like, oh my gosh, you're like you have light coming from all over you, like around you, like my aura is just huge. And it's just how you embody her energy, it's just an amazing energy.
Wow, and you really do exude that, and it's so amazing that the energy had came to you in a dream, because I actually relate to that as well. And that's the thing about the goddess energy I'm realizing, is that it's actually more it's subtle, but it's also very precise. It'll come, the energy is getting your attention in some way or another, and it's just a matter of being a little open to receiving, and that's, a feminine energy quality.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for being, open to receiving that information and connecting the dots, because that's sometimes what is required. We have to do the work, right? Like, it's not just going to happen overnight. You're in some way being prepared for something. So I truly believe you're definitely meant to be a part of it.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Would you recommend the goddess activation modality that
Oh,
Radha created?
absolutely, my God. Like I said, why didn't I learn about this 20 years ago?
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so amazing. And I think a lot has to do, Danielle, with our lack of knowledge and our lack of information, right? We just
Right.
don't have the information. We don't know what it is. We believe humans in general tend to be very negative, right? We all tend to be very negative. We focus on the negative stuff. If
Right.
one person doesn't like it, we kind of become the prosecutors, where we want like everybody else not to like it because we don't like it, instead of
Right.
being open. And I think we really have to be open-minded, right? To be able to shift our mindset, to be able to shift our feelings, and not, it's easier to stay in the whole victim phase because it's easier. You blame everybody else. But I think it takes more courage to hold responsibility. Okay, this is my portion, it's done. I cannot do anything about that, but I can definitely change the future. And I think that's what we really need. So absolutely, 100%, I would highly recommend it. I said, had I known about this, I would have definitely done it earlier. Unfortunately, I didn't know it, right? From my culture, we really don't have literature on this. We've never heard of this before. So therefore, I didn't know any better.
Yeah, and you know what? That's so relatable. I think a lot of women are gonna relate to what you have to say, your chapter, and everything that you've mentioned today. I mean, I just want to thank you so much. You are an amazing woman. I love
Thank you.
the empowerment, and like you said, you got to take responsibility, step up, and I appreciate when people recognize that and then do what is required. And sometimes you get a little dirty, but it's okay. I mean, that's part of the
I was
process.
a mess. Like during my activation, I'm telling you, I was sobbing, right? I was a mess, but it's okay. We can get up, dust off the dirt, and keep on walking, because that's what
Yeah.
Goddess does, right?
Yep.
Isn't we're not just about beauty and being all cute and pretty. It's also about being strong and fierce and having a voice. It's very important that we start having that voice.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for being an example of that. You're so
Appreciate
great.
it, Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So I just want to let everybody know we're going to go ahead and link the information down below on how you can reach Hilda. And of course, the book, Pillars of Light, Stories of Goddess Activations by Radha Publishing House. And thank you so much, Hilda, for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you. And I'm honored to be in the book with you, my fellow goddess.
Yes, my fellow goddess, thank you so much. Again, it's an honor, and thank you so much for your time. And
You
I
too.
just can't wait to see how many other women become activated with this goddess activation pillars of light. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Likewise.